Wait, you recording already?
Now I am, yeah. We get
Yeah.
good notes here. I was gonna say, it looks like you got your guns out already.
Yeah.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
This episode is brought to you by Sabre Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis, Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to Meet the Pressers. My name is Klint Macro, and this is my esteemed colleague, Matt Mallory. And tonight, we have a special guest here on our show. Matt, would you do us the honors and introduce our special guest?
Definitely. We've got John Keys from Guns Out TV. John, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Loving life, living life to the fullest every single day, man. Chasing opportunities, winning opportunities, and being a responsible gun owner.
Amen to that. Amen to
I
that.
like that you right off the bat, it's all about creating the opportunities.
Oh, for sure, bro.
Yeah, you got to create your own opportunities and exploit the ever-loving shit out of them, right? That's what you do when you're in business for yourself, right?
No, it really is, man. That's how it becomes a labor of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you just get so passionate about it, planting seeds, watering it, and watching it grow. And it's all about the trail you leave, man. Your track record, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you got a really good track record and you really show up and prove every single time, you create really solid relationships. And we want to think we can count on people. People want to think that they can count on us. And when you create that perfect exchange, man, magic happens a lot of the times.
Yeah, I like that. Create relationships. A lot of people will build them, others will find them, but create them. That's pretty profound.
Yeah, bro, listen, it's about being intentional, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's about, you have to be intentional in this life that you have. Everything that you want is with intent. And people walk around daily doing that subconsciously, right? They walk around claiming this, that, and the third, speaking it off their tongue, and then they wonder why these same things continue to manifest and manifest and manifest. And that's because you either have that intent or you don't have any intent at all, and the subconscious doesn't know the difference. So you're speaking it, so it's like, okay, that's your intent. So now I'm going to serve up every single thing that you continue to speak with or without that intent. But when you speak it with intent, that means that you're actually kind of doing the things, you're walking the walk while you're talking the talk. So it compounds upon itself, and then things manifest themselves fairly swiftly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a form of visualization, actually.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Speak it and it will come, right? Or build it.
Oh, 100%.
Build it and they will come.
That one works that way too. It's literally it's you get out what you put out. You put these things out, and if you're doing it with the best intentions of everybody involved, you're always going to receive that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't say that since we started Guns Out, came into this industry. I mean, we're literally approaching the end of year 3.
Wow.
But a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people think that we've been at this for a lot longer.
Yeah, I would have thought you've been doing it longer than that, actually.
Oh, right. Well, thank you, and we appreciate that.
So touch on that. Touch on how it all became. What you were doing prior, and what it is now.
So, I'm prior service military, 12-year Marine. I love shooting, love qualifying with the pistol and rifle every year over year while I was on active duty. Got out because of a career-ending injury. Went off and did some other entrepreneurial things. I was actually a recording artist for some time. Made a lot of good money really fast, but just as fast as it all came, it all went. And so at that point, I decided I wanted to get more versed in business. I needed to learn more about business, and the only way to do that was to go to college. So then I went to college and I got 2 degrees. Fell back on my Marine Corps experience, started working at the Pentagon as an executive administrator, and then got transferred over to headquarters Marine Corps Quantico, worked for a couple of interesting agencies there, and then just decided the government thing wasn't for me anymore. So got out of that and got into private industry working for a media company. So I was working for a media company in DC. It's probably about to be a decade now. And I really started to learn the ropes about media, you know, how important media is, how important it is to, you know, have the right messaging and what the wrong messaging looks like, and how much of a staple it is, I guess, in our daily communication, right? So once I realized that, I really kind of took to it, and obviously leveraging just my diverse background in education, stood up a couple of businesses. And then 2020 happened, and the whole world like got turned upside down and felt like it was going to hell in a handbasket. And I decided to buy my first pistol and rifle in 2020. And that's the part that really blows everybody's minds, because, you know, anybody that sees any of our content would think that, you know, I've been a gun owner all my life. While I was shooting for a better portion of my life, it was a very ushered experience in the Marine Corps. And outside of the Marine Corps at that time, my circle of influence was not a responsible gun owner. So therefore, I didn't really know what responsible civilian gun ownership looked like. I knew that in the Marine Corps, the experience with firearms was so ushered, and there were so many instances of, you know, people almost hurting themselves, and like there was all these rules in place so people don't hurt themselves and hurt others, that I just didn't know if I was ready to take on that responsibility outside of my military, you know, dealings. So again, 8 years go by after I'm out of the Marine Corps, and then when all of this stuff changes in the world, I'm like, okay, you know what? I really do need to have something that would make me the ultimate protector of my home and my family and my loved ones. And so I was comfortable with the idea at that point to get a gun, because I had already started to rewrite the negative beliefs and limiting beliefs that I kind of grew up with, and things that I really thought wouldn't make me a responsible gun owner. So in getting rid of those things, and then circumstances the way that they were, my good friend Shermichael took me to the last gun show. Him and Armstrong Williams took me to the last gun show in Fredericksburg right before the full lockdown happened in 2020. And I bought a Glock 19X and Springfield, what was it? MMP Sport. No, Springfield MMP Sport 2. That's Springfield, right?
No, Smith & Wesson.
Smith & Wesson. It's them.
So that's, two Tupperware guns.
Two Tupperware guns. Yeah, basically. Yeah, so, you know, bought those two Tupperware guns, and man, just blew my mind the rabbit hole that ensued. I mean, it was literally like if someone could have like kind of did a time lapse of what this looked like, it would have started with me coming home, pulling out this bench, setting the guns down on the bench, and just literally looking at them like, wow, I have these guns in my house now. Right? And I say, what?
Profound.
Oh, seriously, man. Like it's kind of surreal. And then that's when it set in. It was like, wow, I've had this freedom this whole time, you know, and I've never exercised it. I fought for the country. I was trained on how to use both of these.
Right.
But therefore, but after that, I was not exercising this freedom for myself. And in that moment, like, it was taking that in. It was taking in the cool factor too. I mean, they were two pretty dope guns. I was like, all right, we in the game now. We in the game. So then, you know, since we're all locked down, I start going to the range, well, the outdoor ranges, because the indoor ranges were all shut down. So I'm going to outdoor range, and then outdoor ranges are so packed and booked that, and they're few and far in between here in Northern Virginia. We found a friend that had land, and I mean, he had so much acreage that we literally went to Home Depot one Sunday, bought a whole bunch of plywood, 2x4 zip ties, and we ordered some steel off of Amazon, and we set up 100-yard range, all these things to shoot at out in the country in Boston, Virginia, somewhere. And we found ourselves going out there literally almost every weekend or every other weekend. That's like a 2-hour drive for me.
I was going to say, if that's how recent it was that you got your guns, I mean, having worked with you on the range recently, you're a very skilled gun handler. Well, so obviously you immersed yourself into it, and
quickly.
Like, put some time in behind the trigger.
Yeah. very quickly, very quickly. And you know, I credit it to Guns Out. Guns Out kind of, you know, I was already interested on my own. And the speed of which I was collecting firearms and taking training was intriguing to my friends and family, to the point of which they nudged me to start the channel. They were like, you need to start a YouTube channel. There's people like, I never would have pictured you doing this, but look at it. It's amazing. And now my friends are buying guns and my family's buying guns. And
It's great.
you know, so they were like, wow, you've had this profound effect on us. You could probably, you know, affect other people too, just by telling your story. So, you know, all that being in the media background, we were able to finagle our way on local television. We were on local television for 3 episodes of Guns Out in the very beginning.
Like Wayne's World.
Say again?
Like Wayne's World?
What is that? What happened? See, there you go, Clint. Clint knows every song.
I know,
every movie,
doesn't he? Every book,
every TV show.
Yes,
It was Wayne's
every
World was
lyric.
on public access. Yeah, so
Yeah. So,
yeah, okay.
So yeah, well, it wasn't really necessarily public access. It was ABC7. We was on.
Oh,
ABC
well,
7.
that's legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah. We was on ABC7 literally right before football games, because I think the games here start at 1. So we were on, from 12:30 to 1. So we were right before football. Actually, no, it was 12 to 12:30, which I thought was good, because I know at 12:30 people are trying to watch pregame and stuff. So I was like, 12. So we 12 to 12:30, and yeah, man, we got shut down after 3 episodes because they were like, you know, people aren't ready for guns in this market, because that was right after January 6th, you know. So yeah, so we got shut down. YouTube blew up after that. Warrior Poet Society picked us up. And
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, we got validated fairly quickly because of just the way we were articulating what we were doing. We were very training centric. We were showing us going through the trainings like the first time we're doing it. So you see the mistakes and you see the growth, and everything was just very genuine. So yeah, we built a solid platform from there, and now we're growing into a full-on production house. We just did the media booth at USCCA Expo in Wisconsin. Interviewed all the big names from Coleon Noir to Tim Kennedy, you name it. All of them came through the booth. That episode actually drops tomorrow on YouTube. So yeah, man, things is booming, man. I'm enjoying this whole ride. It's really serving me, but I think it's serving me and Shermichael because we're also serving others. You know, we're serving us our message, and we're serving others by bringing, you know, all of this information forward in a truly unbiased and unedited manner. You know, as far as what happens, you see what happens. We say the things we don't know, and we learn the things we don't know, and then we pass it on.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who are successful in this industry, and frankly, any industry for that matter, are the ones that are truthful and honest about who they are. And they're willing to grow along with their client base or along with their viewership or whatever the case may be. One thing you said that I really liked was how at the beginning of your journey with this, you realized, oh, wait, there's this freedom that I had that I didn't realize I had before. And I think I try to make lemonade out of lemons any chance I get. And the one thing about that whole lockdown process that, you know, there's millions of people that had that same revelation where they were like, wow, there's this freedom over here that I was frankly even against or maybe afraid of. And I'm now empowering myself to take control of my own life and my own safety and exercise that right. So that's pretty admirable.
No, I appreciate it.
Something you said too that kind of caught me was, you know, using guns in the military, getting out, and then not having the guns to defend yourself, yet you were using them in the military. It reminds me a lot of law enforcement. So I'm current law enforcement, and I hear, I don't know how many officers say, well, I don't carry off duty. I have to carry on duty. That's, you know, that's enough. I'm not going to carry off duty. And I think that's just, you know, it's unfortunate. And I'm glad you got that and moved forward. And now you have guns to protect yourself and your family. But there's a lot of law enforcement out there that don't.
Yeah, the ironic thing is too, someone that's a complete civvy like myself, we always looked at law enforcement and military guys as these gun experts that know everything about guns inside and out, and you know, live and breathe them. And in fact, that could be far from the truth for the majority of folks.
Farthest from the truth, man. So like, you know, just to expound on that a little bit, it's like, first off, my attitude towards guns was indifferent, because, you know, the people that hate guns, they're very strong in their opinion, right? And people that love guns, I feel like we're also strong in our opinion too, but you only really run into us at gun places, right? You know, unless you provoke us somewhere that's not a gun place, right? So you don't really hear the pro-gun thing like as loud as you always hear the anti-gun thing. So for
That's
me,
fair.
yeah, being indifferent, I was just like, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a thing to me, right? I just didn't feel one way or the other about it. I knew I enjoyed shooting guns, but it wasn't a passion of mine. It wasn't something that I looked at as an unused or unpracticed freedom. That's not what I looked at it as. I looked at it as, I can get it if I want, but it's fine. I shot it in the military. It's cool. Guns are great. I'll shoot them if you got them, whatever, But I think that that's important that people identify their indifference. I think it's important that, like, that to me, the conversation starts with the conversation. It starts with, why are you so indifferent towards a freedom that has been afforded to you that people actually have died for? And what makes you feel the way that you feel or not feel the way that you could feel? And usually it's some type of a triggering something from their past or from a limiting belief or a negative belief that they just was passed down generationally. There's so many different reasons why somebody adopts this mentality of either indifference or hating guns. And then as it pertains to off-duty cops not carrying and like people like myself in the military not owning a firearm, personally, I don't know why an off-duty cop wouldn't carry. I got to be honest with you. To me, that just sounds kind of counterintuitive. I mean, I don't know. I'm struggling right now. I'm trying to find the devil's advocate reason why he might not want to carry. Maybe because it feels like work or something. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know how important your work is, and what's more important than really protecting your family. It's like okay, I protect people all day, but I'm not gonna protect my family when we're going to Target and there might be some nut job in the parking lot. So yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling with that whole.
Yeah, it's a little different than like a proctologist that doesn't want to wear rubber gloves.
Ish.
It's a little
ish.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think it's a lot like in the military mindset where you're on the job, you have all the stuff you have, you're all kitted out, and then you get off, you go home and you don't want to be in the uniform, you don't want to have any of the tools on you, you want to kind of let your hair down, put your pajamas on, kind of thing,
Yeah.
go to Walmart in your pajamas, whatever. But the law enforcement not carrying off, it's kind of gone in a wave, if you will. Way back in the day when there wasn't as much crime, I guess, or as much violent crime. I think there was so many law enforcement and a good force, if you will, and then it kind of changed where things kind of got placid, things got worse. Then 2020 COVID and all the riots and stuff started happening, and I think that made some change that mindset. But I still find some today, they're like, I don't carry off duty. And
yeah,
like,
well, I mean, but even
why?
now, like the violence that's directly geared towards law enforcement is exponentially higher than what it has been traditionally.
And that's one of the things that I'll tell law enforcement that have their guns on their badge. Why do you have your gun on your badge? And they're like, well, because I can. I'm like, but what if you lose your job? What if you get sent home on administrative leave and they take your badge and your gun? And it was something relating to that the public's going to get mad about. Now they're going to be kicking your door in and you're at home with no weapon to defend your family. So that makes no sense. In New York State, they have to get a pistol license and then put the gun on their license. So, I tell them, get your pistol license, put the gun on your license.
I see.
So at least I know he's
even
law
enforcement. So even law enforcement, you have to register your duty gun to your badge number.
So it's a C form. So the C form has to be submitted to the state and tell them that the gun is on the badge. So that's how that works.
Okay.
But the agency has to approve it. Like I won't allow any of my officers that work for me to do it. We don't want that that responsibility, if you will. There are some agencies that won't even let them take their guns home. They make them lock their guns up at the agency when they're off duty and they leave. The gun's, supposed to stay there. They're only allowed to have the gun while they're on the job.
Wow.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying here. So you're saying when you say gun on the badge, you mean if they had a personal gun that they were using, or are you talking about the duty pistol only?
The duty gun, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that most of them won't have another gun, and then for them to have their duty gun and have the duty gun on them when they're off the job,
they have to then have their badge.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like in New York City, it'd be like a pistol license. You'd have to have, if you have the gun on, you have to have your pistol license on. You'd be kind of that same thing. So I think part of that might be the responsibility. I don't want to carry my duty gun out into public, and if I use it with all the stuff that's going on and the scrutiny that's coming down on law enforcement, I don't want that trouble. So I think that's a lot of it too. But you're right, Clint. You're spot on with there's so many people out there targeting law enforcement. Now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting when we have guests on the show. It's been a while. Matt and I did an episode last night, but we haven't done one for a little while. But Matt's in New York, I'm in Pennsylvania, and then typically our guest is from somewhere else. And it's just interesting to see the patchwork quilt of laws and regulation, and to look at how over-regulated he is in New York. And, you know, there's infringements galore in Pennsylvania, but we look like a bastion of liberty compared to New York. And I bet, you know, maybe the same could be said of other states, but
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting.
Now, where are you guys based out of, John? And what, you know, are you guys, both you and Shermichael, in the same area? Do you record in the same area?
Yeah. We're both in Northern Virginia. Our office is in DC on Capitol Hill. It's like literally right across from Union Station and the Heritage Foundation. And we have DC concealed carry. Obviously, Virginia is open carry, but we have Virginia concealed carry as well. And you know, obviously all the reciprocity that comes with both of those. So yeah, I mean, it's so funny because when we first started Guns Out, we were going to Nando's after coming from the range one day, and Shermichael decides
what's Nando's? What's Nando's?
You don't know what Nando's is?
No idea.
Peri Peri chicken?
No.
You don't know what
I was going to ask
Nando's
the same thing. He beat me to it.
Oh wow. It's like,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
it's kind of like a spin on Peruvian chicken, but I think it's like South African chicken or something or another. Nando's is really good. You should try it if you ever find one. But yeah, we were going to a restaurant, and Shermichael came out of the range and he had his gun on his hip. He just left it on his hip because, I mean, we could do it. And we were getting ready to go into Nando's. He has this staccato P hanging off his hip, and it was one of the old staccato Ps with the big tree bark grip and all of that. And I'm just like, dude, you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to take that into Nando's right now? There's really no reason to take it to Nando's. He's like, yeah, John, it's open carry state. I was like, man, look, bro, ain't nobody gonna see you. They just gonna see the gun. Okay. So if you just want people just to see the gun, then okay. But I mean, so I convinced him to take it off his hip. But you know, funny thing, couple weeks later, I'm going to Wegmans and I see this guy walking with his pistol and it's tucked in his pants in the front, just tucked in his pants.
Like Frito Bandito, just stuffed down in.
Just stuffed down his pants, you know, grip hanging out and everything. And I'm just like, thinking to myself, what is wrong with this guy? Right? What is wrong with him? Why does it didn't appear that he had a proper holster. And there was the way it was oriented like appendix carry, but no holster. And I'm just like, why would somebody even do that? And I know it was a striker fire pistol because he didn't look sophisticated enough to own a 1911 or a 2011. So I'm just like, I'm just saying.
That's a dead giveaway that perhaps he was a criminal, because you talk to all the law enforcement, and if you get someone that doesn't wear a holster, that's a really good indication that perhaps they're up to no good.
Yeah. You know, and even if you're not, why would you want to send that message? Right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. True. I mean, we're ambassadors. You know, we want to make sure we empower people to exercise the right as responsible gun owners. And you know, we're all gun people. We're fascinated by them. We enjoy them. We collect them. But you know, if I'm anywhere and I see someone with a gun on that I can see it, I will stand between that person and my child. Absolutely. So that's me. I'm not afraid of the gun itself. You know, I don't want anyone to point one at me or anything like that. But what does that indifferent person do? And then when people see that and then they start to feel the negativity with it, and whether you want it to be or not, it usually sends off a message of intimidation to some degree. And now we're pushing that person over to the dark side.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
That plus, you know, why tip off? You got the gun. Any self-respecting criminal is going to shoot the guy with the gun first, I would think.
First.
Yeah.
Or like you said, they're going to be looking at the gun, not you.
Or it'll be, or in this case, it'll be a picture that'll end up as a meme on the internet because the person's got the gun just shoved in their britches with no holster.
Absolutely.
That doesn't do the industry good at all. So
nothing good coming out of it, fellas. That's the moral of the story.
Worst thing could happen is somebody goes, "Hey, you dropped something," and the person goes to bend over to pick it up. Right?
Oh my gosh.
That would be bad.
Tragedy waiting to happen.
For sure.
Or like if they just started doing flips on a dance floor or something
yeah,
somewhere.
remember
Yeah,
that?
man. What if a flash mob broke out, right? You couldn't take part in the flash mob.
No, you gotta participate. I mean,
Yeah, well,
it's the flash mob.
yeah.
And then he'll have a flash bang.
Oh,
touche.
that was quick. That was
Yeah.
good.
So
Yeah.
so you said how it started, right?
Yeah.
Or where you came from, and then how it started. So give us a little bit of a idea on what what you guys do, what makes up the show, as well as where you're going. If you got anything in the future that you're looking to aspire to do and move into that entrepreneurial rainbow, if you will.
Oh yeah, well, that ship has sailed, brother. Let me tell you. The purpose of Guns Out was to humanize firearms culture. Because obviously when I became a gun owner, I was quickly enlightened on how when you go to the range, it's not as intimidating as people would like you to believe. And I mean, I will say it's circumstantial because you can go to the range on any given day and you might find like a whole SWAT team training. And yeah, they're going to come out and looking like Tactical Timmy, right? Because they were there training. But you don't know the difference, right? Because you're just a civilian. You never really been to a gun range. But if you walk in and you see all of that right there, as soon as you walk in, you're like, man, what am I doing here? Right. So it's like one of those things where I always tell people that they need to, find yourself a good steward of responsible gun ownership so they can take you through the experience. So that way, no matter what you see, they can kind of explain it to you, walk you through it, et cetera, et cetera. But that was the purpose of our channel. The purpose of our channel was to show people all of the exciting and informational and enriching experiences and people in the gun industry. So that kind of elevated our platform pretty quickly because it wasn't necessarily about us. It was about what was out there that you didn't know about. And then you got the cherry on top of seeing me and Shermichael kind of banter about it and go through it and growing pains and learning steps and all these things, right? So all of that multi-platform content, YouTube, Warrior Poet Society, a couple of other little independent sites here and there, that we did maybe a video or collaboration with or whatever. And then, like I said, it transformed into a full-on production house because as we're going across the country, creating all of this content, we're linking up with new videographers, new editors, and we're just collecting because, I mean, I would like to think that me and Shermichael are pretty easy to work with. And that's why we've been so successful at collecting the right people. And we always look for that because we know what quality is supposed to look like. Just like you, Clint, sitting in the studio, like you would know how to go and find the right engineer for the right type of music for the right type of artist, right? So same with us. We leveraged our experience in the media industry to really connect with the right people that could keep our content consistent, keep our message solid, right? Because it's all about the mission. It's all about the tie back. And then now we can leverage them, create more opportunity for them and more opportunity for us as a business by lending out, leasing out, however you want to look at it, our production services.
And that's huge. That's huge. That's something that this industry has lacked for a very long time. I mean, you had like Panteo, you had a few bigger companies that were putting out, like Lenny McGill videos back in the 90s or something like that, but when you looked at some of the bigger trainers out there, especially, it was not of a quality that was acceptable.
Yeah.
Now, as technology has changed, we all know like my iPhone is like better than the $47,000 HD camera I bought for my company back in 2000. But so, there's been a lot more like self-publishing type people out there, but putting together the team that you have and then allowing, affording that service to other people in the industry is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. And it benefits everybody, man. Like it's a pat on the back to the hard work of our video guys that keep up with our rigorous schedule and many demands on the range and putting up with live fire, because that's a specific skill, as a videographer, being able to safely and effectively film somebody shooting live firearms, and make it compelling, so hats off to the whole Go Films team and every other videographer that we've ever worked with. Cause man, those guys, They're a really big part, and in my opinion, in some cases, an underappreciated part of why we enjoy a lot of the firearms content that we enjoy.
For sure. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I always find it funny when somebody's recording a video shooting and then it cuts off and they start talking and they don't give it that pause. So when you say that, it's like that somebody's got to be able to know that that happens and have that delay. Just like when we have somebody do a cameo and we have them clap, we know how it's going to work and we got to work around that that technology, if you will, to make sure it works right.
Yeah, but having a pro there, but having a pro, sometimes they got to know how to work in that environment.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of like if you had a news guy jump in a film set, he would probably be a disaster until he learned like the lingo and what goes on there. And when you put production people into the range environment, one, you got guys shooting guns. And so if a camera guy steps the wrong direction, that could be, like not good. But also, how can they get the shot that we want? So being able to have someone that's in production that knows the gun world and can live in that world freely is pretty fantastic. I do a lot of for local sportsmen's clubs, I'll do like their orientation videos, and they'll want to like an explanation of the safety rules and then just show how to like unload and load and unload and clear different action types and stuff. And I can knock them out pretty quick. If they would have got an actor in there to do it, the actor, you'd have to review it and then you'd have to fix it and do reshoots.
That thing.
Is this clear?
Yeah.
Is this
So
clear?
I mean, so having the knowledge of both worlds is very advantageous.
You don't want to have an Alec Baldwin, that's for sure.
See, now we don't want to get off onto that because, well, we could if you'd like.
It's true. No, I'm just saying it's what you're
Well,
saying.
no, we don't want to have what happened in that situation happen. No, never.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
without question.
Yeah.
So,
Now, if Alec Baldwin did something to cheat time out of that armorer, then Alec Baldwin, the producer, is totally liable for all that. But Alec Baldwin as the actor I can't hold him accountable for that, because actors shoot guns at each other on camera all the time. And the fact that he stopped the moment someone was hurt, and it pains my soul to speak out in favor of Alec Baldwin, please understand this. But having worked in that industry, this is something that comes up all the time between Matt and I. So I hate that you're in the middle of it right now. But if Alec Baldwin, the producer, was cutting corners for safety, then Alec Baldwin, the producer, totally should be held accountable for that.
Well, coming between you two in whatever this dispute is, it's a lot more tame than if you were to come between me and Shermichael when we're disputing some stuff.
Oh, okay.
the guns come out, right?
Yeah, we can get a little passionate with each other, but it's all for the sake of good fun and making your point.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah, and Matt has kicked my ass with a pepper ball gun before. That was kind of fun.
Oh wow, was it like a burner gun or one of those?
It's actually a saber launcher.
Yeah. I just remember going, "Oh, I'm gonna get hit." Pap, pap, pap.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't get the safety off.
So what? It was like a force on force. It was a force on force situation.
Yeah.
Was it just like you and him playing around, or were y'all both like taking part in something?
Oh no, it was kind of playing around. Well, kind of. Yeah, kind of. We unfortunately didn't catch it on video, but it would have been funny because I just remembered like time dilation, tunnel vision, like it was all textbook what we teach. And I just saw these balls coming at me. I'm like, I can't get the safety off. This is gonna sting. Pap, 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 pap. Yeah. And I just remember seeing him laugh. He's bouncing the air laughing.
Yeah. Time dilation. That's a real thing, man.
It is.
Like I really wish that, because I know that I've had some time dilated moments, and man, I wish that we had the power to play it back in our mind's eye, like I mean, in all its actuality,
right?
Because no matter what you may think, unless you're one of those perfect recall people, right? Things change a little bit, especially once if it happens so fast, super fast, and bam, everybody comes over and you're all talking about it and everything. That situation has now compounded into something so epic. And,
oh, sure.
Yeah, So yeah,
we had Dr. Alexis Artwalt on here, and she just flat out said people are horrible at remembering what happened, especially in a stressful situation. You may think you remember.
I would love to be a part of a study that did that, just to see what my recall is actually like. And I would love to test it under all the different types of circumstances, like excitement, anxiousness, fear, anger,
Hangriness.
Hangry is a whole thing. Like that's a whole thing. There's two things I try to avoid on the range. It's having to pee and being hangry. Because I notice when I have to pee, I don't shoot good. I don't shoot good if I really have to go, because I feel like I'm just trying to rushing through it or whatever. So I'm like pull some shots. So I try to, stay emptied, and then hangry. Yeah, I don't like hangry neither.
Yeah.
What, the other one, hangry or number two? What's your other?
Number two. But
number
I don't,
two.
Yeah, being hungry either, and I don't like my feet wet. That's the other thing. Like, my feet are wet.
Now, if you fuck up with the pee thing, your feet may end up getting wet.
It may end up getting wet.
That's true.
There you go.
Wow, we are degrading in this show.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. But that's a very specific and random thing, like that. If your feet wet, you're no good. Like,
well, I mean, I'm good. I can push through it, but I hate it.
Yeah, you're just not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's weird. That's so weird. Like my feet aren't wet often enough for me to think that I hate my feet being wet. I think.
Yeah, well, if you live in New York, you live in New York with snow.
As I'm about to say, like, what situations have you been put in where your feet were wet often enough where you can really say, you know what, I don't perform well when my feet are wet?
It's probably the snow.
It's New York in the snow. A lot
of
mud.
Okay.
In the mud and the rain, and
you're wearing cop shoes.
All that, and then I was in the military too, so they put in the Army. So,
well, your range gets a little muddy, right? Or did you get that drain fixed?
No, I put a 100-foot drain in there, and
it's got a great range,
and put a bunch of grass down too.
Yeah, where are you located at, Matt?
Upstate New York, behind
where upstate?
Syracuse, by Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse. Okay. Yep. Holy shit, dude, that's cold.
It gets cold. Yeah, it gets pretty cold here on our homestead. We'll get 3 to 4 foot drifts in the back.
So is it cold enough, because you're in Pennsylvania, right, Clint?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. He's like in the south.
I'm in Southwest PA.
He's like in the south. He's in like Texas compared to us. Like I go to his place, he doesn't get snow hardly at all.
So is it cold enough for like a hoodie right now? Or is it cold where you're in the building you're at right now, Clint?
My wife would say it's just because I'm cold all the time, but yeah, it's cold enough to just wear a hoodie today. Yeah.
We haven't reached that. We haven't reached that yet here in Virginia just yet. I love hoodie season, so I'm just waiting for it. But
I get cold very quickly. So,
but you see, that's like, man, like even Philly, man, because I'm a football fan, and it's like we always play Philly at Philly, and I'm just like, I don't want to go, because we always play Philly in like November, December, and I'm like, no, play Philly in August.
Philly still have a team? Yeah, I guess they do.
Stop playing. Stop playing, man. What's Philly's record right now? I feel like they're 2-0.
No, they're doing pretty good. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, y'all got a squad, man. Y'all got a squad.
The Buffalo Bills are pretty good too. They changed their area code.
They changed their area.
044.
What is that?
Actually, it's 055 now, right?
Yeah, I don't get it.
They've been to the Super Bowl 5 times and lost all 5 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That the Buffalo Bills story, that's remarkable to me. Like I'm like I can't even believe that. But I see why Buffalo fans would be kind of crazy about that, right? Like that's a very poor record. And man, that first loss that y'all took this season, I mean, first Aaron Rodgers gets hurt like when he comes out the locker room. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, they got this game in the bag.
Stubs his toe.
Yeah, where I grew up, about half of the town was Bills fans and the other half were Steeler fans. I grew up in north central Pennsylvania, so geographically speaking, about equidistance from both. But my mom was a Steelers fan from way back, so therefore I am a Steelers fan from way back. But I'll be honest, I haven't followed much.
I don't like the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't really watch.
Don't say that in a bar here.
I wouldn't. I keep my NFL politics to myself when I'm in foreign cities.
I had a client come in from LA once, and we were recording, and we were in the studio like day after day after day, putting in long hours because they were flying in from LA. This was shortly after I moved back here, so we were on a schedule. And so he was done with his vocals, and then we were going to do guitar solos. So when he was done with his vocals, he says, "I want to go downtown and go to a bar." So we dropped him off on Carson Street, which is where a lot of bars are. He got the piss beat out of him, and they threw him in the back in a dumpster because he started talking shit about the Steelers, and like they actually beat the piss out of him through. So
wow.
I don't know what he said, but he tended to say stupid things when he drank.
Everybody in that area that you're in, like when Philly won the Super Bowl, like they let them know how. And that's what I said. Like, that's why the Bills will never win the Super Bowl, because you realize that if the Bills win the Super Bowl, that town is toast. The town is toast. They better have the Super Bowl on the moon when the Bills go and they got a good chance of winning. And I tell that to all the Bills fans that I know. I mean, bro, it's been a long time coming, and when it finally arrives, God help that city.
Yeah. It was like the heck was it, Boston? Like when Boston finally won. Baseball.
Yeah.
It was the mark of Babe Ruth, right?
Yeah, the curse. They broke the curse.
Yeah, they broke the curse, man. They went crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that season, I saw the third game at Fenway. I'd been to Fenway for the first time in my life during that season. Wow. And I kind of want to say they beat the curse because I was there for the third game at Fenway.
Oh, it was because of you.
Yeah, nice. That's what I want to tell myself.
Hey, man, look,
cool. If you're not into baseball, or if you are, and if you're not a Red Sox fan, you should go see a game at Fenway. It's just neat. Like, it's old park, man.
Oh yeah. I'll be open to that. I'm not a huge baseball fan at all, actually. But I love going to baseball stadiums. I feel like that's Americana.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a baseball stadium, if you don't even know how to wrap your brain around Americana, go to a baseball game.
Yeah, that's I believe fair. It's the oldest park that's still being used, and like when they built it, people were real skinny. Like the seats are real wide, so you got to kind of squeeze your ass down into them. But even the bad seats, like you could still see facial hair and stuff. Like everyone was real close. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd call that cool, but that is
yeah, if you like baseball.
It's interesting.
I like baseball. I like baseball better than football, I guess. The whole knee thing kind of got to me.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, well, we got to keep sports and politics separate.
Yeah. Your haircut, Matt, says baseball.
It really says baseball. Yeah. Usually people say it says cop.
I was going to say it says, can I see your driver's license and registration?
or let me turn this way, or electrician.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Or a switchboard operator with that headset you got on.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
that's true
too.
Cool. So how can people check you out, find out more about you guys, follow you, hire you?
So if you go to gunsoutTV.com at any given time, you'll see everything that we got going on. And we're actually trying to get better at that because we just had our second annual Range Day 2023 at XCal in August 5th.
That's a cool range.
We did, in our first Range Day, we did over 2,000 people. Wow. And that says a lot. That says a lot for, content creators like us that are following. I mean, we haven't even broke 30,000 subs on YouTube yet, right? But we know that so many people watch, to the point of which, I was on a cruise in the Bahamas, and I'm on a cruise ship, and I got stopped, and somebody said, "You're John from Guns Out TV," and it was like, me and my family watch you all the time, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing," awesome. Right? And so we threw our first Range Day, over 2,000 people showed up. Like that was an important benchmark for us because we realized there's people with millions of followers that can go to a signing or a meet and greet and no one will show up. Right. Mm-hmm. And that just means like, hey man, you either bought a bunch of followers or you're like that Insta famous person that people care about online, but that's it type thing. Right. So it really showed that our mission sunk in with people and people believed and people wanted to be a part of it. So then we had our second annual Range Day. over 3,500 people showed up. I mean, and the numbers across the building was just crazy. It was, and so what that told us is that there was an appetite for the experiences that we create, and we have a lot of stuff bouncing around in here. So we're getting ready to start bringing this show on the road, so to speak. So I want people to look out for a few things as it pertains to Guns Out. One, more custom content. Two, we're going to be collaborating with other content creators and bringing their content onto our platform, because that's why we're called Guns Out TV. Guns Out TV, we want to be a network, so to speak, of curated content that kind of meets our mission, meets our goal, and hopefully and mostly produced by us, right? Then we just partnered with a local range here in Stafford, Virginia, that we're very happy with. And we're going to create a venue. Like, we're currently in the process of making that a venue for unique firearms experiences and trainings. It's going to be a very close-knit kind of community. We're going to put it out there to the public, but like, we're capping it off at a certain number of people at each experience, each event. So it's going to be like a first come, first serve thing. We're going to throw it up on the calendar. Once the sign-ups have reached the limit, bam, you have to catch the next one type thing. Nice. So we're really excited about that. And then we're also going to take like some aspects of our range days and bring those to local ranges, all across the country. And we're actually starting with our tri-state area, the East Coast type area. So, for example, Clint will be working with Mainline Armory, I think it is. In Philly. If they're in Philly or like outside of Philly or something like that?
Yeah, Malvern.
Yeah,
if you don't know the area, you can just say Philly, but yeah, it's Malvern.
Okay, so in that area, we're gonna be working with them, doing some things. Gundry in Maryland, XCal, they're still major partners of ours. They're even a range we met in Delaware while we were at Expo. So yeah, we're looking to really expand our presence, our physical presence, with these types of little pop-up events or micro events, if you want to call it. So those are all the things that you got to look forward to coming from Guns Out, along with continuous cinematic content that we create. And then if you go to gunsouttv.com, you'll find everything there. All our social media platforms, everything is all curated into one website. But if you're just searching around on social media, at gunsouttv.com, at Guns Out TV, all the platforms is the same, at Guns Out TV, no spaces.
That's smart. Yeah, that works great. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and telling us all about everything you got going on. And
man, I appreciate it, man. And I think that this is one of the perks of what we do, is like, we really get to, and I know that the phraseology is worn out, meeting like-minded people, but I say that to say that, like, for example, when I found out that Clint was, into the music business, and he had all of this experience in the music business, like, for whatever reason, that's just not the things you think about when you think of a gun person, right?
Yeah.
You want to think that everybody has kind of like the same story. I would have thought, oh yeah, Clint probably has military background, or he's probably former LEO, whatever. Nope, none of those things can be further from the truth, right? But yet and still, you're sitting here and you're co-hosting a platform with somebody who is law enforcement and someone who is, prior military. So it just goes to show that you can coexist in this space with people that you probably share more in common with, and it could all come to fruition because you talked about a gun, or you shot a gun together, or something like that.
A lot of people are usually surprised that I'm a beekeeper and we have chickens too.
Are you really a beekeeper?
Yeah.
Now that's fascinating. Why, sir, are you a beekeeper?
It's sweet.
All right.
You've been waiting how long to say that?
So are you really a beekeeper?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no,
okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know, because look, some people go
do.
to great lengths to set up a joke.
No. He doesn't mess around with the bees. No.
I do actually.
Yeah. So tell me, I'm sorry, before we go, you got to tell me why are you, like, why?
So we originally got the bees to help pollinate our garden, and we figured it'd be natural sweetener. So we try to do the natural thing, and our garden obviously is natural. So we ended up trading. Well, we got the bees. We got 2 beehives 15 years ago, I think it was. And shortly after that, one of our neighbors had chickens, and they wanted some honey, so we bartered a quart of honey for 3 chickens, and that's how we started with chickens.
That really just jarred a thought in my head, and it's interesting because when I stop to think about all of the responsible gun owners that I know, I also know that they're usually very educated, very interesting, and have some things to lose.
Very well said.
Yeah,
Just
very
saying.
well said.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, that's
That's a good note to end on right there.
Hey,
Actually,
man,
I agree.
That was
yeah,
the mic drop.
That was the
right
mic
there.
drop. Absolutely.
I thought you were giving us a fist bump, Post.
We can do that too.
Yeah.
Bam. Hey man,
Yeah.
appreciate you guys for having me on, man. And I hope your audience enjoys the episode, and definitely come check us out, man. Say you saw me on Meet the Pressers, because we want to help promote you guys as well. So, let's keep this growth going, man. Let's continue to grow and expand the community.
Oh, it was a pleasure to spend some time with you on the interwebs here, and it was an honor to work with you on your range not too long ago.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, no, very insightful, Clint. Thank you.
Cool. Looking forward to the future.
All right. Y'all take it easy, man.
You too. Stay safe.
All right, you too.
There's a lot of sponsors to make this show possible, like Mantis.
Make sure you check them out and give them your business.
This episode is brought to you by Saber Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Thanks for watching or listening to our show.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, click that little bell thingy so you know when the next episode's uploaded. Support us on Patreon. Come to one of our classes. Host us to come to you and do one of our classes at your location.
And until next time,
Adieu.
Thank you for watching Meet the Pressers.